Okay, we're going to continue our review of foci, and I have plenty more examples to give y'all about foci in review and things to look out for and just to get the feel of things, because I've jammed so much information to y'all, and um, maybe some of it is just not getting through, so I'm showing some examples, and yep, this is probably just, a few of them, but I've got plenty more that I also probably want to share in the future, and we'll see what's up. So foci, like we'll just go through it, right? So we'll see the first two sentences. This one actually came from another YouTube video, and this when I was explaining somebody about this, like it reminded me about maybe sharing this with y'all on the internet. So the first sentence we have is gisulud na ko sa bag. Okay, gisulud na ko sa bag. And I'm gonna translate this as like, I put object inside the bag, or I put it in the bag. This is because we know that there was something already, there was something implied that was going on in a previous conversation, that somebody probably told you that to put it in the bag, to put something in the bag, to put an object in the bag, or maybe you put something in the bag yourself. But yeah, if this verb sulod was conjugated with the gi, right, we know that this verb became a transitive verb. Gisilod na ko sa bag. Okay, so I was the one that put something in the bag, right? And if I wanted to specify, I would have to use or give more amplifying information. I would have to say ang blah 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 blah, right? Ang. And notice how I underlined ang in that blue, right? To specify something, right? Gisulod na ko ang, I don't know, ang lapis sa bag, right? I put the pencil inside the bag. Gisulod na ko ang sa bag ang lapis, or gisulod na ko sa bag ang lapis, yeah. And note that it doesn't need to be ang itself, but as long as it's with the ang family of markers. So if we don't know what the object was, we can substitute ang lapis or ang whatever noun or object to anything of the ang family of markers, right? If I want to put somebody in the bag, gisulod na ko sa bag siya. Or if I don't know what the object was, and it's just a thing, right, this or that, right, I can say gisulod na ko sa bag kana, right, or kani. But this is telling me that an object or something, right, something in focus was placed inside the bag, sa bag. This object was inside the bag. We're not talking about ourselves. Something else was placed inside the bag. So in other words, instead of me translating this sentence to I put it in the bag, or I put it inside the bag, it can be translated to the object was placed inside the bag by me. Okay, because our focus would be that object, or that ang or whatever, the ang family of markers, that thing that was placed inside the bag, that would be the focus. So we can say something along the lines of that thing or that object was placed inside the bag by me, or was put inside the bag by me. Gisulod na ko sa bag ang blah blah blah. But the sentence only asks for gisulod na ko sa bag, which just technically means I put it in the bag, or the thing was put in the bag by me. Versus the second one, nagsulod ko sa bag. All right, now if we change this, we change the pronoun. If we change the verb, we change the pronoun, and the verb was conjugated with an actor focus verb. So now now we have an actor focus verb, and we change the corresponding pronoun to us, to me, again in ako. Nagsulod ako sa bag. Now it's us, the first person, again, not ergative, it's absolutive. We are now the ones that are being talked about in the sentence. So if you said nagsulod ko sa bag, this means I am the one that was put inside the bag, or I'm the one that went inside the bag. So watch out, because gisulod na ko sa bag means you placed something in the bag, versus nagsulod ko sa bag means I am the one that was placed in the bag. Like I am the one inside the bag. I'm the one that put myself in the bag, right? Gisulod na ko sa bag. Notice the difference, because ako right here, is in the absolutive case, we already know we are the ones being talked about. But here, nako is not in the absolutive case. It's an ergative. It's an ergative pronoun, and since it's an ergative pronoun, it's a non-focus. And since it's a non-focus, something else was more important. Meaning, by default, the object was more important, not me. Versus here, I'm the only one being talked about. I'm the important one. There's no other objects but me. Okay? Nagsulot ako sa bag, which now it makes sense. I am the one that went or put myself or went inside the bag versus I am the one that put something in the bag. All right? So keep that in mind. When you change the conjugation, you change the focus, you change the pronoun, okay? Just keep that in mind. The next one we have is aya o kan a. All right, don't eat it. Ayaw kan a. Ayaw kan a. All right, we already talked about this a, right? That a as a postfix or as a affix, right? That suffix a, right? That postfix or that affix. And we already talked about in a previous video what it does. This one is just explaining to you, don't eat it. We already know. Maybe somebody was already talking about an object in the past or just recently or whatever, right? In context. And someone told that person, hey, don't eat it. Ayaw kan a. I made this, don't eat it. Or I made that, don't eat it. Ayaw kan a. They don't know exactly what it is, but they're just telling the person, don't do it. Don't eat it. And kan a comes from the verb kaon or kaona. But when we use our morphological process, that last vowel, it's always the last vowel that gets deleted. Kaon a gets kan a. Because kaon has a glottal stop in it, we have to use that hyphen to keep that internal pause present. Kan a, kaon a, right? Ayaw kaon kaona. Ooh, that's a tongue twister. That's why they have to use a hyphen, right? Ayaw kan a instead of saying ayaw kaon a. That's just too many syllables, and we don't like that in Cebuano. We like to keep things in a conversational flow. Ayaw kan a instead of saying ayaw kaon a. It's too many glottal stops. Kaon a. No, too many pauses. We just want something that's two syllables, right? Kan a. And that's how we get that word. If something like this, just I guess a general rule of thumb is something like this is too hard to pronounce for a Cebuano speaker, chances are that verb will be using morphological process of deletion to get pronounced something much more conversational like. Right? Moving on. This first, we only have one, so yeah, this is a big sentence or two sentences here that I combine. And the first clause is nakaila baka ni Carlos, right? Nakaila baka ni Carlos. Nakaila baka ni Carlos, and it means, are you acquainted with Carlos, or do you know Carlos? I guess in layman's term, do you know Carlos? And how do we know that we are talking about you? Because ka right here, the second person singular, is written in the absolutive case. It's not written in the ergative case. Moreover, the verb was also conjugated in an actor focus, right? Since it was an actor focus and we have ikaw here written in the absolutive case that corresponds to the conjugated actor focus verb, we're talking about you. The focus is on you, the actor, the actor of the or the doer, right? The actor of the sentence. Whereas ni Carlos, right? Ni Carlos is the patient or the thing that's being acted upon, I guess. It's weird. Yeah, it's weird to think of it that way, but it works. So are you are the one acquainting Carlos, right? You are the one acquainting Carlos, meaning are you acquainted with with or to Carlos? And this is telling us a question with the ba particle, which can be placed anywhere right after the verb. Nakaila ka ba ni Carlos? Nakaila ka ni Carlos ba? So it's asking a question. Moreover, there's a rising intonation too. Nakaila ba ka ni Carlos? Right? Are you acquainted with Carlos? Or do you know Carlos? So that's what it's asking me for this first question. I just really want you to look at how the structure is written, how the verb is written, and how it's conjugated, as well as the focus of it. Remember, we're looking at the foci of things in this video. So you are the one we're talking about. You're the center of the conversation. I'm interrogating you if you know this person, right? I don't care about this person. I just want to know if you know this person. And then the second clause of the sentence is kung nakaila ka niya, padalhi siya og mensahe. Right? So kung nakaila ka niya, so this first part before the comma, if you know him or her, or if I don't want to use this ergative pronoun to replace ni Carlos, I can say kung nakaila ka ni Carlos, right? Remember this niya, the ergative pronouns can also be replaced with the non-focal nouns and pronouns, right? So if I know specifically who this person is, I can use the non-focal marker ni and place his name. Similarly, if I don't really know this person, if I don't know the person's name, I can say nakaila ba ka niya, right? Kung nakaila ka niya or kung nakaila ka ni Carlos. Again, as long as it's within that same non-focal family, I can use any of those, right? But since we already know who the person is, I can be a little more general. Kung nakaila ka niya, if you know him or her or whoever, comma, and once again, just observe that verb because we're still talking about you in the focus. This next part or this next clause is padalhi siya og mensahe, right? Padalhi. Look at this verb. It comes from the word dala, right? Dala, padala, or dala, right? But we use that he at the ending, and that's indicative of a circumstantial kind of it's a circumstantial kind of focus. It's a voice, or yeah, it's a voice that is showing some sort of benefit, right? Again, some sort of location, benefit, transference of something, right? And what are we doing? We're bringing, or we're giving, or I guess, yeah, dala means like bringing, or we're sending in this case, right? We're bringing him a message, right? So there's some sort of transference going on because that verb is giving us a transitive meaning. Like it can take an object. This verb, dala, is a transitive verb. So some sort of transference can happen, some sort of benefit or location can happen. Padalhi siya og mensahe. All right. Now in this next clause after the comma, we don't use niya anymore. We don't use niya anymore. We use siya. All right. Because this padalhi now refers to this object. So we're talking about the person. This person now is or Carlos now is the focus. He is the one that's going to be receiving a message. And what's going on? So we can translate padalhi siya og mensahe means bring him a message. But literally we can say it's more closer to say he is the one that will be brought a message by you, right? Padalhi. This padalhi is telling us to that the imperative. You bring him, or you bring a message, or you give a message. You send, right? And this is, again, the he. If you don't know anything about the he, remember we talked about this in a previous video about how this is the imperative of the circumstantial focus. Padalhi siya og mensahe. Bring him a message, but this is better translated as he is the one that's going to receive a message from you, because again, he is in the the absolutive case, right? Whereas the verb is telling us to be conjugated in the non-focus, so we are less important than he is, but the less important verb that's been conjugated has told us an object to be done to him, right? An object of mensahe kaniya. Next we have tubagi ang mga pangutana. Answer the questions, right? And it simply means answer the questions, such as what happened up here with the he endings. Remember, we talked about this in another video. Tubagi ang mga pangutana. Answer the questions. This is telling us something. It's an imperative, right? It's telling you to do something. You do blah 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 blah, as what other imperatives do. And what is it telling us to do in this case? It's telling us it's imperative of us that we need to answer questions, right? And that's why this ang, some sort of transference to some sort of location, is going to this ang that's highlighting, hey, answer the questions. This mga pangutan is our ang focal now. The questions are what we need to look at. But this verb is telling us to answer to answer, right? The questions. Same down here. Hinumdumi ang contrasenyas, right? And remember the password. Remember the password. Contrasenyas is password. So remember the password. And finally, we have something similar to our first sentence. Giimbita ka ni Inday sa grupo. Giimbita ka ni Inday sa grupo. Alright, which means Inday invited you to the group, right? Inday invited you to the group. But look how it's written, right? This gi has been this imbita has been conjugated by a gi, so we know something is out of focus. What's the non-focus here? Ni inday, right? So this gi imbita corresponds with ni inday. They go hand in hand. They're not important. They're the non-focus. They're out of focus. Whereas this word here, ka, because it's right after the verb, it changes from ikaw to ka, and we know that ka is a short form of ikaw, and we know that ikaw is written in the absolutive case. Therefore, ka, ikaw, you are the focus. So this sentence can translate to you were the one that was given an invitation by Inday to the group, okay? Because you are the focus. Literally, that's what it means. It's like you were invited by Inday to the group. Or I guess you can say Inday invited you to the group. But it's better to say you were invited by Inday to the group because the focus now is you. If I say Inday invited you to the group, I would have to use si Inday and change everything else, right? Si Inday. And the verb and then this everything changed. Like this whole other alignment changes. But since Giimbita was aligned in the non-focus, you are the one that was by default aligned in the focus, so we can translate the sentence as you you were invited by Inday to the group. Okay, but again, it's okay to translate this in English as Inday invited you to the group. Okay, we just know it that way, but technically it's you were invited by Inday to the group because you are the focus of the sentence, not Inday. Inday is just the non-focus as reflected with the ni marker. Ni marked Inday in the non-focus, and ni corresponds to this gi. So gi imbita was conjugated for Inday. It was not conjugated for you. Okay, so again, this is just a review of foci, right? I might put in some more reviews for this if it helps.